Hello once again, and welcome to another episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock. On today's episode, we'll be talking about how the cross-country teams have been doing. We'll also talk with new track and field head coach Dave Sanders about his expectations of the program, and also have a recap on how the volleyball team did this past week. But first, let's talk with head coach Brett Crowley about his cross-country teams. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Caleb. Thanks for having me again.
Well, it's been a little while since we last had you on the show, and missed a lot since then, but tell us about how the team's been doing.
Well, we've had two meets since we last chatted. We've been to the Indiana Intercollegiates, where all the, Division I as well as all the small colleges in Indiana compete. And we also, this past weekend, competed at Earlham. So I've got a lot to talk about from there.
All right, well, let's break it down team by team. We'll start with the men's team. They placed 18th of 19 at the Indiana Intercollegiates. Tell us about that meet.
Well, both for the men and women at Indiana Intercollegiates, we ran in a little what I call a thunderbolt. We had some adversity. We had several folks that weren't competing that we can due to illness or injury. For our men, again, we had Cole Dudley sit out, so we weren't at full strength. And not to make excuses, again, we went there. We didn't prepare for this particular meet as well as we could have. We had some extreme heat. 90-degree heat in the shade, but and we had several of our athletes on the men's side did not perform as well, primarily to that. Same juncture in time, our five that finished made it a very heroic effort to just finish from that standpoint. It wasn't our best times and wasn't our best placing. I think we certainly, as our team discussed over the last several weeks, that we certainly are better than 18th out of 19 in the small school division.
Well, on the flip side, they won the Earlham Invitational, so tell us about that.
Well, again, bounce back effort. We basically have used Terre Haute as a rallying cry, so to speak, and said, this is not the sort of performance that we want again. And so, and mainly our issue with that wasn't the training or our running, it was more so our mental preparation, what we were doing, coming to practice and working, extremely hard at practice and making sure that, we ran as well as we could together as a team at practice and having that translate into the meets. We even worked on even things like nutrition, and as I found some of our guys and even some of our ladies were not eating as well, and even again managing their time well with their studies and going back, make sure we're not pulling so many all-nighters and doing those types of things to make sure that we were ready. And our men performed extremely well. They were looking for a bit of redemption again at Earlham, not only to have a win, but really our core four guys, all right around 28, 29 minutes is right where we wanted to be at a very, very tough Earlham course.
Now, what were some of the opposing teams like at both of those meets?
Well, at the Indiana Collegiates, you had some extraordinarily strong teams. I mean, even from the Division I level on down. Wabash on the men's side was extremely strong, running the 8K mostly in 27, 28 minutes. So Earlham was a little bit different, much smaller meet. Right. We competed mostly against Indiana Northwest. Earlham, Anderson brought their women's team specifically. So much smaller venue from that standpoint. Indiana Intercollegiates, we ran against basically 300, 400 other runners. Mm-hmm. So, and still we, as much as I harped that wasn't, a positive thing, we still had, a lot of individual performances that were really strong. Blake Brooks led us on the men's side, Teresa Ilsman on the women's side, all posted fairly strong times at that particular event in spite of everything that happened.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the women's team. They placed 19th at Indiana Intercollegiate. Tell us about that.
Yeah, again, we're very shorthanded at that point in time. Grace Rusci did not run due to injury. Morgan Stanley, our strongest runner at this point, did not run due to illness. So we're shorthanded right then and there out of the gate. For our runners that ran, Teresa really led us from that standpoint. However, at that juncture in time and what led into more positive results at Earlham, Allie Can, our sophomore, or two sophomores, and Haley Rogers, who all can run, in the low 20s to 21 minutes. We're at in the 24s and 25s, at Terre Haute. And when we came back, I challenged them as well as their other teammates. When we're shorthanded, we have to step up. we have to improve and work better as a team. And again, treating practice like it's a race, and each practice like it's going to be an opportunity to compete. And they responded extremely well. So while Terre Haute wasn't the best result for us, probably the best thing that happened, we ate at Penn Station that evening. It was one of my favorite places to eat. But
right.
Along those lines, we came back, I think, a little more focused, a lot more determined to be better at Earlham, and that's what happened.
And the fourth place finish at Earlham, how'd that meet you?
Well, everybody's going to look at specifically, the standings, but in terms of our times, we were almost per woman on our team, we were almost a minute to almost 2 minutes in certain cases, lower than we were at Terre Haute. Allie has set a personal record. Haley Day, one of our freshmen from Franklin County, set a personal best. Haley Rogers nearly set a season best across the board, and we were more where I felt we could be as a team in the 22-minute range on a very hilly and wet course at Earlham. So regardless of our standings, we really, we're shorthanded, Morgan being out due to illness again, we were in a position where we did everything we could and I feel drastic improvements from Terre Haute. So our women's team just needs to, one, be healthy, I think, at this point in time, and so that we all run together and train together for an extended period. And we have a good opportunity coming up here soon to do that.
Now, some of the runners that you've been talking about that were sitting out, are they getting better? Are they going to be able to finish the rest of the season?
I believe so. I think we had on the men's side, Matthias Ritter was declared by the NAI eligible. We had anticipated he might have to be redshirted, and he ran at Earlham and ran very well for his first race, and just a little over 30 minutes. And along the line, Grace Rushi's, again, rehabilitation has come along pretty well. I was followed again by a cold and flu season is upon us for sure, and she began to make some improvements and strides from there. We're hoping that Morgan can, whether it's bronchitis or whatever's going on, can kick that and can get back in the swing of things. But for the most part, we've been pretty healthy, with the exception of really this time period in between intercollegiates and Earlham, and hopefully we're going to be very healthy coming into our next meet.
All right, well, that next meet is going to be at Wilmington College, the Jenna Strong Fall Classic. What do you expect that meet to be like on October 16th?
Well, it'll be a huge meet. Actually, for many of the schools there from Ohio and from our region, this will be a last prep meet before conference. For the most part, that's how we treat it as well, even though we have a meet after Wilmington before we get to conference. But it is a fast, flat course. It's an excellent opportunity to compete against some of our KIC rivals and so forth. Rio Grande, IU Kokomo will be there for sure along with us. So it's an excellent opportunity to run in a large meet. Again, 300, 400 runners again at this particular event for a very good cause on the Jenna Strong foundation that has been established there at Wilmington. So, I think it'll be a good opportunity for us. I feel really good. We have a good 2 weeks of training. I think we'll be ready to go.
And you also mentioned the conference meet in there. What do you expect that to be like coming?
Well, again, we're going to be at Terre Haute, Terre Haute. We're never going to Terre Haute this season again. That's on my brain, obviously. We're going to be headed to Rio Grande. I think the course itself, from what I've been told and what I've seen so far, is not extremely hilly. A lot of fast and flat places to run. Just kind of handicapping the KIC as I've done via the internet, regardless of where our rankings have been in the recent conference polls. I really feel that it'll be an advantageous place. We've run in the hills before. Competition has stepped up. We've added new teams from Ohio Christian to West Virginia Tech. They all have, on the men's side, and all the conference members have runners that can be in the 28s, 29s, some lower. Point Park has probably made the biggest jump right now in terms of competition to date. But anything can happen on race day, and if we are able to stay mentally focused, stay healthy, I feel that the Red Wolves cross-country teams will do very well at the conference meet.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach, for joining me, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. The volleyball team was able to return home last week to take on Kentucky Intercollegiate Athletic Conference and NAIA newcomer Ohio Christian. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
Here's Yoder. Over to the right side to Morrison, set by Wireman. Tipping it across that time was Kari. And that'll be a kill by number 11, Missy Bedell. 24-18 brings up match point for the Red Wolves as all of the IU East fans begin to stand up here at the blackout match. Yoder back to serve. Going to go over into the Trailblazers side, and they hit it into the net. That's the match. The Red Wolves take the fourth set win by 7. 25-18 and win the match 3-1. Mallory, great to be back at home once again. I know we keep saying that, but we really haven't been at home much this season. What was it like to have such a great conference win here at home tonight?
It was really great. The crowd was really awesome tonight. They really played into our energy, and it was just a great overall win.
Now, do you think that it would help if we had our crowd on the road with their energy and really just trying to lift you guys up in these matches?
Oh, definitely. Volleyball is such a mental game, and so the crowd helps just as much as, I don't know, like everything else.
All right, well, let's go back to the first set, and I know you might have a hard time remembering some of this, but we were down 10-1 in the first set. So what were the thoughts? What were you guys talking about and trying to come back in the first set?
It was all our own errors. We weren't doing like what we normally do. We weren't executing on offense. We weren't serve, receive, passing or anything. So we really just had to clean up our side, and we did that the rest of the game.
What were you able to do to adjust to start making those changes?
We just had to get into a rhythm. Sometimes we just get in a rut, and then one big kill or big play, and we get right back into it.
I know when I talked to Coach Niekamp earlier this week, we talked about how really just being at home or even some of the shorter road games just helps because you guys aren't as tired or have a chance to sleep before the game. Would you agree with that, and what's your input on that?
Oh, definitely. It's getting towards the back half of the season, so our legs are getting tired. We've been playing a lot, so not having to travel so much and be on the bus helps a lot.
Now, with you being the only senior on the roster this year, I know you would like to not only win conference, maybe even the conference tournament, but make a trip to the national tournament as well. What do you think that the team needs to work on to be able to get to that point?
Finishing games is a big part of our problem this year. We get to 20-20 or something, and we try to we kind of have a lot of errors at the end. So if we can finish games and be more consistent throughout the whole set, then we'll be good.
All right, thank you, Mallory, for your time, and congratulations on a great win here on Blackout Night.
Thank you.
Then the volleyball team returned to the road about a 3-hour trip to Bethel College. At Bethel, the Red Wolves fell 25-17, 25-17, and 25-21 in 3 sets at Bethel College. The Red Wolves fell to 12-10 after that match and had a 4-match winning streak snapped. According to Coach Abby Niekamp, it was a tough match playing Bethel on its home court. Niekamp said IU East hadn't seen an offense run as quick as theirs yet this year. She said the Red Wolves made adjustments, but played too tight to take a set off of them. She said that the Red Wolves did loosen up in the last set and were able to gain some momentum. She concluded by saying the match was great preparation for the team moving forward in conference play. She said, quote, "It would have been nice to hang with them more than we did, but we'll be better next week because of this match." Freshman setter Abby Ketchum had 12 assists and 14 digs for the Red Wolves. Now let's take a look at some of the highlights from the Bethel College match.
Going to go over to Yoder with the dig, set by Ketchum, attacked by Livingston, and that'll be inbounds for a kill, 17-15. Sydney Durham will now serve for the Red Wolves. Here's the serve. It's going to go over to the back row. Dig by Livingston. Dig by Pavey. Best gets it across. There's the set, and Anderson gets it across that time for Bethel, and it's time for.
And there you have the highlights from the Bethel College matchup between the Red Wolves and the Pilots. When we come back, we'll talk with newly named track and field head coach David Sanders about what his expectations of the track program are. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports.
I am your physician.
I am your caregiver.
I am your spiritual support.
I am here to help you be independent
and achieve your optimal health.
But I am also a cancer survivor.
I am living with diabetes.
I am a chef.
And an artist.
I am your neighbor.
I am the face of Reed Health.
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 Reed Health, right beside you.
And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock. Now joining me is our new track and field head coach. He's not a stranger to the program by any means, but thanks for joining me, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start off by just your thoughts on taking over the track and field program.
It's a good experience for me. That's something that I wanted to do since I was in 6th and 7th grade. I knew I wanted to coach. It's always been basketball, but I had a great opportunity to take over the track and field program, and I'm running with it. I mean, I'm just excited to get everything going.
So what inspired you at that age to want to be a coach someday?
Just different coaches that I had over my lifetime. I had great basketball coaches. I had great track coaches. I had great football coaches growing up, and just seeing how they inspire people and how they work. That's something I knew I always wanted to do.
So if you had to pick your top 2 coaches that you've had.
My top 2 coaches. Number 1 coach, it's definitely Coach Hayes. He was my 8th grade basketball coach. I've learned a lot from him as far as just everything. And number 2, it would be Coach Mails, my high school coach. And that's just not counting IUEs. It's nothing against you, Coach Hester. You're a good coach too. But that was my top 2 as far as my middle school coach and then my high school coach. I mean, they taught me a lot of things.
And how were they able to make that impact on you?
Just being there for me, supporting me in whatever I wanted to do, whether it be bad or good on the court, and just being there for me. And that's what I wanted to do with my runners and my players. I mean, I want to be there for them, and anything they need, I want to try to go that extra mile and help them out.
All right. So what are your expectations of the program?
I want to bring in some good kids. That's the biggest thing. What I tell all my recruits, what I tell everyone is graduation is first. Right. I mean, you're a student athlete. Students are going to always come first. I want you to come in and not only do well for me on the track and on the basketball court for basketball, but I want you to graduate. I want you to come in and graduate in 4 years and get that degree, because if you get that, then the sky's the limit for you.
All right. Well, you said that you want to bring in good runners, and this year you have 13 freshmen on the men's team and 8 on the women's team. What do you think that they have to bring?
I mean, they all have their different characters, different abilities, and on paper, the freshmen look really, really well, but that's on paper.
Right.
They have to come in and work. They have to learn how to work like our upperclassmen, and like I said, they just have to come in and bring something to the table. Right. I mean, if they come in and work as hard as they can, I'm happy with that. Right. And I mean, some of them have their own different abilities. I mean, different events. But if they come in and work, then I'll be a happy coach.
Now, as you're scouting for runners for next year, what are you looking for?
Fast. I'm looking for fast. So I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, I'm looking at times. And I'm looking at GPAs, making sure they're good character kids, talking to a lot of coaches. But I mean, I'm really looking at the high character kids who get good grades, but they also have to bring something to the program. Because I mean, I am running a program. I am so I have to bring in kids that can, meet those times and that can come in and provide for us.
Right. Now, what do you expect of the returning runners?
I mean, I already know what I'm going to get from them. I mean, I know that as a whole, as a core group. They're going to come in, they're going to work hard,
Right.
and that's something that I can't take away from them. I mean, for the past, some of them 3 years, some of them 2 years, and some just 1 year. I mean, they came in and handled their business,
Right.
and they're doing well in the classroom, and they're doing well academically and athletically. So I can't complain about that. I mean, as long as they
Right.
keep doing what they're doing and leading the younger guys, because like you said, I have so many freshmen
Right.
who need to learn how to work, and that's both in the classroom and on the track and the weight room, just everywhere. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing I'm looking for them to do, is to lead them and kind of push them in the right direction.
Now, do you have anyone in particular that you expect to stand out this coming season?
I mean, speaking of standouts, you have to go with Clint Swanson. He Conference Athlete of the Year last year.
Right.
I mean, he just the epitome of IUE's track and field. I mean, he's been here for 2 years. This will be his third year. He has 1 more year left, and he's someone that I can depend on as far as getting everyone working hard, and it's going to take care of stuff in the classroom. And I mean, we have Kyle Slick. He's a senior for us. He's actually was running when I was running, so
Right.
he's a former teammate of mine. And I mean, same thing. He's going to take care of things in the weight room, in the classroom, and on the track. Sage Henderson, he's another guy that comes in mind. And those are 3 guys that I'm really looking forward to step up as a leadership role and to push those guys, those younger guys, those freshmen and sophomores, and guys like Matt Flood and Cameron Jones.
Right.
I mean, just different type of upperclassmen who can come in and bring something to the table, but also lead those younger guys.
So you also mentioned that you had a former teammate. So you had the sort of the teammate relationship, but now you've got the coach and runner relationship. What do you expect that transition to be like?
It's a fun transition.
Right.
A rule that I laid out at the beginning of the year, because last year I allowed it also, them calling me Dave. So that's something that it's been a habit that everyone on the track team has been having to break. And I'm just really calm about it. They call me Dave, that's 5, and they know what it is. They have to give me the 5 push-ups, and it's a fun way to get their respect, and that's something I really wanted to focus on, just because we have so many new people. I want to change the culture around here. I mean, it's fine calling me Dave last year, but this is this year, and I worked to be in this position, and I mean, Dave is no longer acceptable. But it's been a fun transition. I mean, we had some fun with it, so it's no hard feelings.
So do you have any assistant coaches that will be helping you this year?
Yeah, Coach Crowley, the head cross-country coach, he was a head coach last year, and he's going to help out a lot. And Coach Coyle, Michael Coyle, he someone that's helping out a lot. I mean, it's behind the scenes, a lot of recruiting work. And on the scenes, I mean, he shows up to practices in the morning, early morning with us. So, I mean, that's a big help. And also Jordan Weatherford, he's been coming in the mornings and helping us out. He's a former runner here. He's been kind of coming in and helping us out as far as like the weightlifting stuff. So, I mean, I have guys in place that come and help, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, try to get as much help as possible, because especially with all these kids, sometimes it's a headache. But, I mean, I have some good people in my corner that's helping me out.
So with Coach Crowley being the previous head coach of the track and field team, what's it like to have his experience as your assistant coach?
I mean, it's always great. I mean, I've known Coach Crowley for 7 or 8 years now. I mean, when I was here running and playing basketball, I mean, he was always someone I can count on, and if I needed help, I go and talk to him. So, I mean, we have a great relationship. Having this experience there is just another set of eyes, like I said, and someone else that can get things done. I mean, he's proven that he can get things done. So, I mean, like I said, just another set of eyes that's dependable.
All right. Well, anything else you'd like to add about the track and field program before you leave today?
I mean, nothing else. We are wanting to do 3 indoor meets. The first one will be December 11th. That's something that we never really tried before, having an indoor meet before the semester's up. So that's going to be our first meet, December 11th at UIndy. And then after that, we're just going to keep going all the way through spring.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Coach, and best of luck in your first season.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it from the new track and field head coach, Dave Sanders. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports. And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. That sound you just heard means that it is time for Wolf Center. Wolf Center is where we take a look back at last week's IU East results and ahead to next week's schedule. You can download the Wolf House sound you just heard for free by downloading the free IU East Athletics app at the iTunes App Store or at Google Play. Now taking a look back at last week's IU East results, on September 29th, the volleyball team defeated Ohio Christian 3-1. Morgan Steinbrenner had 12 kills, 5 blocks, and a .409 hitting average. On October 2nd, the volleyball team fell to Bethel College 3-0. Abby Ketchum had 12 assists and 14 digs. On October 2nd and 3rd, the men's golf team placed 6th at the KIAC preview. Franklin Christ placed 8th with a score of 156. Also on October 2nd and 3rd, the women's golf team placed 5th in the kayak preview. Bree Nowak had a 4th place finish with a score of 168. On October 3rd, the men's cross-country team placed 1st at the Earlham Invite. Adam Klipstein placed 2nd with a time of 28 minutes and 24 seconds. Also on October 3rd, the women's cross-country team placed 4th in the Earlham Invitational. Allie Can placed 9th and had a college personal record of 22 minutes and 7 seconds. On October 4th, the women's tennis team defeated Brush Hill 5-4. Madison Bixler won at number 2 doubles and at number 4 singles. On October 10th, the men's golf team will be at the MVNU Invite. That is going to be in Mount Vernon, Ohio, at the Chapel Hill Golf Course, and is the final event of the fall for the IU East men's golf team. On October 10th, the volleyball team will be at home against Midway. First serve is at noon at Seton Catholic High School. Be sure to watch the game live at IUERedWolves.com. Then also later that afternoon on October 10th, they'll be at home against St. Francis from Indiana. 4 p.m. first serve. That game will also be live at IUERedWolves.com. On October 12th and 13th, the women's golf team will be at the St. Catherine Invite. That's in Bardstown, Kentucky at the Maywood Golf Course in the final event of the fall for the women's golf team. On October 13th, the tennis teams will be at home against Lawrence Tech. It's going to be at 4 p.m. at Glenn Miller Park and the final home match of the fall for the tennis teams. Then on October 13th, the volleyball team will be at Rio Grande, 7 p.m. first serve, and be sure to watch that game live at IUERedWolves.com. And finally, on October 16th, the cross-country teams will be at the Wilmington Invite. The meet starts at 4:30 p.m. in Wilmington, Ohio. And that concludes this week's episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.